I'll do that.
Sure, let's do it. I need to be sure.
I called. 10:53. February 9th.
President John Hernandez.
Here.
Vice President Ann Denton.
Here.
Director Eddie Karam.
Here.
Director Wilma Roberts.
Here. We have one.
I'm just gonna get rid of the motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. All for A, B, C, D.
Second.
Favor?
No, sir.
Yeah, so now we'll have Robert to cover the issue relative to Casey Bridge projects.
Guys, I draw your attention to the staff report. If you recall, back in December, I had mentioned this new structure under the TCFC structure, which allows for the financing of a project with 100% of the bonds. We then in January had Jim Plummer of Raiswell law firm come and discuss the two structures that we have, which is the existing TCFC structure and then this new one. And I wanted to tell you, I've got one all loaded and ready to go, and here it is. And this is Casey Bridge. Where this came from is we originally, back in October, had induced this for bonds under the bonds of 4%. But it obviously did not get a very favorable lottery score. So they're going, now what do we do? So what they've done is they've gone back with this piece of property they have under contract, and they are proposing to build two structures because it is, the land is bisected by Casey Bridge. And what they made application with the city of Austin is what's called, I've got it written down here, and I'm just drawing a blank, which is got a fancy name to it.
Smart house.
Yeah. Affordable housing. Anyway, the proposal allows you a much greater density on the property.
Affordability and lot.
Affordability and lot. There you go. Thank you.
No fun getting old, is it, Robert?
Well, thank you. So affordability unlocked. And so what this does, there's a restriction within the affordability unlocked. So if you get to greater density, then they want greater affordability. That makes all the sense in the world. So of the 50% of them have to be at 60% of area median income. And within that 60, 20% have to be at 50. So this certainly impacts the income. And so the reason why I like this transaction so much is that it provides the most affordability you'll probably see under this particular program, because it's being coupled with that other program. So of course, they've gone ahead and made application. They're getting ready to spend lots of money with regard to the plans. And at this point, they're going, okay, tell me you're interested in doing this. And that's really what we're doing today, is discussing this, because they need to have kind of the green light that, you know, based upon what they're proposing, that y'all would be interested in entertaining that. Now, what I've done is I've laid out the structure that we have discussed, and I'm ready to come back to the board next month with a memorandum of understanding that would memorialize this. But at this point, since this is a brand new deal under this program, I wanted to pitch this up to the board and say, here's what we're doing. This is the new program. this is the set asides that are gonna be there. The developer's getting ready to spend money. They would kind of like a nod at this point.
And the nod would commit us to doing what exactly?
Nothing, other than, you know, they would certainly like you to seriously consider it, and if for some reason you have an objection to it, wave them off. Is
I
basically,
see, no, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. I mean, when, let's say we decide to engage with them and support this project, at that point, refresh my memory about what
okay.
our
So-
responsibility and commitment would be.
Okay, so once we go to a memorandum of understanding, which, you know, I plan on presenting to the board next month, that is when you're gonna say, yes, we want to do this under this structure, et cetera. This is the fees, and you authorize Patrick or myself to sign the memorandum of understanding. So next month.
Well, is there not, we can, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Is there any way we can move this, because this deals have been coming in slow and nothing is done in a while. So why, we've met twice in a month before, what's the deal in getting it expeditiously as possible?
Well, of course, this is the first time I've been able to present to the board this particular structure. Everything else was just merely, here is the general structure. I now have a deal in front of us. So I don't think I could have moved any faster, and by doing an MOU next month, I think that's as fast as we could do it. I certainly didn't have an opportunity to do an MOU for you to approve today. If you didn't know whether or not you wanted to do it. So, you know, I think we're moving at lightning speed, and very systematically with, in December, we explained the new program. In January, we had the attorney, explain both sides. And here in February, we have this deal to present to you. So, I mean,
Right, and I remember asking last month, these are still within the PFC structure.
correct,
It's just a different, it's just what we learned about over the last 2 months. It's a different
correct.
consideration within the PFC.
Yes. Yes,
So any, the profit that I'm looking at up here, or the dollar amount that I'm looking at, there would be subject to 50% set aside, which being low income within our own purview.
as per whatever the resolution is, and I believe that's correct. If that's, yeah, what we do with the money once we receive it. Right.
And so how would you describe our role? What is our title within the industry?
Well, actually, as it was discussed, December, then January, our role is more as an owner.
Yes.
And we are contracting with this developer to develop the property.
I just wanted you to refresh my memory. I thought that. was
Right. And so it's different. We obviously, you don't have an equity provider in this particular transaction. You will have a lender involved, but subject to only lender requirements. So a lot of things that already are being discussed is, so what is it exactly you want with regard to parking ratios and, you know, individually metered versus sub-metered, et cetera. And those things are already being discussed because, you know, they've got to draw the plans.
Right.
You know, and everybody realizes this takes an awful long time, but just like you said, Mr. Roberts, I mean, you got to get a building permit, takes about a year from start to finish. So you got to have a set of plans, and they're doing it, but they want a green light and say, yeah, you know, this makes sense, right? Yes. And then, you know, they would really feel comfortable if they get an MOU that's executed.
Right. I mean, the status is they've applied for the density waiver under affordability.
That's correct.
I mean, it sounds like they're moving forward, and we can choose to join in with them, and that'll be.
Right. And, you know, quite frankly, the deal doesn't work without us. And so that's why they're so, okay, guys, what do you think?
As long as we're getting the 50% that we can then leverage into extremely low income units, which is the deal. That's our policy.
And we do need to make money.
I guess the concern I would have, and it's not a concern, but, you know, since we're technically the owners in this deal, you know, we've had so much problems with TML. Where does the insurance come from on this deal once it's complete? Is that something we can put in the stipulations as opposed to looking at an outside entity for insurance and et cetera?
We're free to pick whatever insurance that and select. We're going to use the developer's expertise to provide us with the best possible insurance, and we can certainly do our own due diligence as well. But we're free to select who we want to with regard to the insurance coverage, as long as it meets with the lender's approval and the proper coverage.
I don't need any more headaches.
I know.
Okay.
I have a lot of questions. I'm going to try to limit them.
Okay.
What's the basic arrangement between us and the developer? We're going to own the property. Are we paying the upfront cost for the development? Are we paying for the plans and permitting and site? Who's spending all that money?
Okay, so that's kind of the natural beauty of this thing. We are the owners, but we are not paying that. They're at risk with developing the plans, paying for permits, et cetera. And of course, they anticipate that they're going to get reimbursed from loan proceeds, because all that's built into the budget. But they're writing the checks at this point right now.
And if they don't get reimbursed, we're not liable to that.
We are not.
And what is the technical arrangement between us and them? We own it and we're what, leasing it or hiring them as consultants to do it for us?
That is correct. And as part of this transaction, I'll mention also, they do have, they're fully integrated. And this is why it makes sense for them. Number one, they have an architect in-house. So, they're charging for it, but, they get paid for it. And two, they have a property management company that would manage the property. And obviously they would want, as part of the structure, that they get to be the property manager on it. And they probably will insist upon that, especially as long as you're going to have a certain number of completion guarantees and things that are required by the lender that they're going to provide, we're not going to provide. And so as a result of that, they're going to want to have control over that until such times that their liability goes away.
Is this going to be 100% funded?
Yes, this will be 100%.
Once it's up and operating, let's say we're operating at a loss, which obviously we won't be together. They're covering that also. At what point do we have to incur losses? Operating.
The way it typically works is we're going to build up an operating reserve within the budget. It's usually for a 2-year period. And they will not let that go for that period of time until such time that we meet a certain debt coverage ratio of 1.15, 1.2, et cetera. If you're then saying after 5, 10 years or so, it goes the other way, it's no guarantee involved with either party. However, it would be, do we want to continue to feed this? Because if we don't, then it would be foreclosed on by the lender.
And we can walk away with it.
Yeah, right. There's no guarantee.
Obviously, my concern is 100% financing and the project's not able to make it on its own if it's not. I mean, it's looking at the downside.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, we walk away from it. Other than that, we put money.
So I think it's very important on these transactions, especially where it's 100% financing, that we really scrutinize the amount of developer's fee and other costs involved. We
The
want
next
to keep.
question was, do you have a projection of the income expenses on the project?
I do a preliminary one, and it certainly meets that, but they always do up front. But but it is based upon this, and, you know, I'll be happy to provide that to you. But we're gonna do a full underwriting of it as well as the lender, et cetera. And like I said, I've limited the developer's fee in this transaction. And I think that's something that we ought to consider doing, because it is 100% financing. We want to have a cushion for that purpose.
And we're not getting a developer.
No, I mean, yeah, excuse me. Yes, we are. They're getting a developer's fee. We're sharing in that developer's fee.
How much is our share of that?
At this point, I don't have that number in front of me, but it would be somewhere around 20% of the total developer fee.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
No, it's just-
Just discussion at this point.
Any year unfinished business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?